Coach Hughes, going into the SWCL Tournament to wrap up the fall season, what were the expectations that you had going into the games against Blue Eye, Billings, and Crane?
Well, we talked last week when we did our recap before the tournament, and we talked about our pitching, kind of being the key. And I felt like, we set up our rotation perfectly to get 3 wins, and they all 4 guys that pitched did exactly what they were supposed to. And, we ended up playing 24 innings over the tournament and gave up 4 runs, and only 2 were earned. So I felt like our pitching did extremely well. And in our first 2 games, our offense came together and got us a lead early in both games, and we were able to kind of tack on. And then in the championship game against Crane, we just battled. It's kind of what we talked about after the game. Whenever you interviewed me, we just battled, kept plugging. I told them to keep swinging it, and eventually we'd be okay, and it turned out in our favor.
It did turn out in your favor. So now going to the positives, what were the positive sides that you saw from the games with Blue Eye, Billings, and Crane in the SWCL Tournament?
Like I said just a minute ago, our pitching was extremely good. And if you give up a total of 4 runs over 3 games, you're going to have a chance to win. And then we had some standout performances too. I know Andy Aldaba had been hurt. He hadn't really pitched much over the last month of the season, and we worked him into kind of slowly getting back into the starting rotation, and was able to pitch 8 innings in that championship game and did an extremely good job. And then also he had 4 RBIs at the plate, so that was huge for us to have him be able to come through for us and drive in some runs. And then just overall, I thought that our 1 through 4 all year was consistent. But in that tournament, our 5 through 9, we had some guys step up and have some big games. There in the championship game, Boston Gates batting in the 9-hole was on base 3 or 4 times with a couple hits. Alexis Aldaba had 3 hits. It's just some of the guys at the bottom of the order did their job too. So, those are a lot of positives. And then defensively, we had 2 errors in the 3 games. Played really well defensively, and made the plays when we had to.
You guys did make the plays that you guys had to. And now talking about the negatives from the games against Billings, Blue Eye, and Crane, it's going to be kind of hard because in the first 2 games when you guys played Billings and Blue Eye, you guys shut out both Blue Eye and Billings. In the Crane game, there could be a few negatives. So what were the negatives that you saw from the games with Blue Eye, Billings, and Crane in the SWCL Tournament?
Well, I thought, in all 3 games, we scored in the first inning, which was huge for us to get the lead. But I didn't feel like we tacked on enough runs early on. I know, against Blue Eye, we didn't score. We scored 3 in the first inning and then didn't score again till I think the 4th or 5th inning. Kind of the same way with Billings. We ended up beating them 10-0, but we played 7 innings against them, and we didn't really start, kind of putting a bigger lead on them until late in the game. And then of course against Crane, we had a 1-0, and then we had a 2-1 lead, and then we had a 4-2 lead, and it took us till 12th inning to beat them. So I thought talking about negatives, about the only thing I could say is we didn't keep scoring early on and put the pressure on all 3 games. But like you said, other than that, I mean, when you play 24 innings and you give up 4 runs, you have 2 errors, and you score 29 runs, there's not much negatives out there.
There was not enough or much negatives out there in that game. So now as we fade away from the fall season now into the spring season of 2021, with hopes that we could play a spring season, which are very likely, which I believe the coronavirus could be gone by the time the spring season rolls around next March. And looking at the spring season, you will host East Newton before you start the Purdy tournament. That'll be on March 19th. So what do you know about East Newton when you guys will play them on March 19th?
That date isn't set for sure. We're looking at maybe possibly moving that and playing them down at Arvis Ballpark in Northwest Arkansas. So that date isn't a for sure set in stone, but they're coached by Jordan Savage. He does a great job. He He did a student teaching here at Purdy and was part of my coaching staff for 1 year, a few years back. And every year that he's been there, they've increased in wins. They've increased in baseball knowledge. Got some good kids coming back, and I look forward to that being a tough test, and and looking forward to strapping up against a good buddy in Jordan. So.
Also, looking at the spring season, you guys play schools that have football, which are Marionville, I believe College Heights Christian out of Joplin, Seneca, Diamond, and Lamar. You don't play Monette or Cassville, which are neighbors to the north and south. So what do you know about playing the schools that have football that don't get a fall season?
To answer or to help out on that Monette and Cassville, we are actually working on games with both of them. We've played them in the past. Our schedule is not 100% set, so what's on Misha is just kind of about 3/4 done. We're looking at playing Monette and Clever. Maybe on that March 20th, after the East Newton game scheduled, and then we're looking at trying to schedule one with Cassville. We are looking at trying to add a tournament or move a tournament around, so we're waiting to get confirmation on that. We're looking at joining maybe into the Forsyth tournament, so that would be a good test at the end of the year. And once we get that set, then we're going to try to set a date with Cassville. But yeah, our schedule's got Marionville. They're always good. And, they got a new coach, and I know College Heights in the past few years have been really tough. Lamar, Coach Lundeen up at Lamar does a good job, and we're really looking forward to playing, Seneca, Coach Hughes down there. He does a good job. So, we try to play some Big 8 schools. I know one of the last games that we got on our schedule towards the end is Mount Vernon. I know Coach Swillam does a good job too. So, yeah, we not only are we going to play, that SWCL conference that night in, night out, it gives us a trouble and test us, but we're also going to try to play a lot of the Big 8 schools on the west side and try to get in some games and some different tournaments and just get battle tested and be ready for the playoffs.
Just get battle tested and be ready for the playoffs. And also looking at the SWCL tournament, you guys have two away games for the SWCL tournament, which are at Southwest and Crane on April 6th and on April 13th. So, playing away from Purdy, playing at an SWCL game on the road, what are the tests, and what are the strengths of playing on the road at a conference game?
Well, no one wants to play on the road when you could play at home, but every year you got to rotate that out, and it's nice to go see different ballparks. I know Coach Ferguson down at Southwest and Coach Harmon down at Crane. They're tough to beat anywhere, but they're especially tough to beat whenever you play them on their field. So we're going to have to be ready for that. And with that being said, we got a few home games there in our conference, and hopefully, that'll kind of give us some confidence going into those games on the road, and you just got to be ready. That SWCL conference, I mean, you saw it this year. Anybody could beat anyone. I know Southwest beat Galena early in the year, and then Galena beat Southwest. Billings and Crane beat us earlier in the season, and we beat them. I mean, it's just anything could happen in that conference. It's such a loaded conference with great coaches and good kids.
It is a loaded conference with great coaches and great kids. And now talking about our rivalry that you guys had this fall, it was with Crane. Now, I said this during the stream of the SWCL Tournament championship game when you guys took on Crane, was that the players, the coaches, they're friends off the field, but they are competitors on the field. So, do you think that Crane-Purdy rivalry, is it a friendly rivalry? Would you consider that?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's no one that I would rather beat than Brian Harmon and the Crane Pirates and that group, but there's no one they would rather beat than Coach Hughes and the Purdy Eagles. I mean, that's kind of what a rivalry is based on. But you're right. As soon as that game's over, we had, respect for them and just, I mean, they battled their rear ends off. They battled all year. They were without some of their better players at the beginning of the year, and some kids stepped up, and when they got healthy, they went on a nice run there and won 20-plus ball games. That respect is because they've earned it, and I hope that other teams respect us because we've earned it, and our kids play hard. They play the right way, I hope, and I know Coach Harmon, he coaches the right way, and his kids play the right way. They play with a lot of intensity. They play with a lot of fire, and it just makes it fun. I mean, why wouldn't you want to play a good team at the last chance of last game of the year in that SWCL Conference Tournament championship? So yeah, I think it's a friendly rivalry, and I think anyone that says they don't want to beat the other one's lying to you. I mean, we want to beat them, they want to beat us, and that's what makes it so fun and so intense and such a good game.
It does make it an intense and a fun, a good competitive game when you guys have Purdy and Crane, pretty much the top dogs of the SWCL. Can't count out Billings, you can't count out Galena to be at around the top, just kind of hanging in with Crane, trying to catch up with Crane and Purdy. So do you think when you guys play other schools in the SWCL of Blue Eye, Billings, Sparta, Spokane, Galena, and Southwest, are they friendly rivalries just like Crane?
Yeah, most definitely. I don't think there is I don't think there's a situation where we go anywhere in that conference and think, man, we're just going to run them over. I mean, we got to be ready. We talk about it. It's a conference game. We talk about it, weeks in advance. If we got one coming up, we discuss, what we're going to do, and they do the same with us, I'm sure. And all the coaches are, they're such at a high level that they require, our coaching staff and our team and our players to be ready, because any given night you can get beat. And I think it's a friendly rivalry, and we communicate outside of the field and outside of the game, and help each other out when needed, and also just there for each other. We were talking. I hate it for Spokane and Sparta. They didn't get a chance to finish their season due to some quarantine issues, and that's not fair to their kids. And we wish them the best. And hopefully by springtime, like you said early on, that they are this thing is over with and we can just play without any worries. But it may be around for a little while, and we want those guys to be able to play, and we don't want anyone to have to miss a game because of quarantine situations.
Don't want anybody to miss a game due to quarantine situations, and so this is going to be over a year that we've had a spring season in the state of Missouri. So now, if you look at the schools that don't have fall baseball, let's say the teams that were in the SWCL of Clever, Forsyth, Hollister, those teams that left the conference due to football. So do you think it's going to be like Christmas Day once they get to their first practice since the season was canceled last spring?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to a lot of those coaches that are at those schools that didn't get a spring, and they kind of envy us coaches that get a fall, because we had a fall last year and we had a fall this year, and so we've had 2 seasons since they've even been able to be, for the most part, on the field with their guys. So yeah, they're going to be happy as can be, and the kids are going to be happy. And I hate it for the kids that didn't get to have their senior year. But yeah, I think that Christmas morning type of mentality may be a good way to look at it, and they're going to be happy to be out there and competing and playing the game of baseball.
Just playing the game of baseball. So now, looking at your roster, I'm not sure if there's any players on this Purdy team that play winter sports, that they play basketball there at Purdy. So do you support your players that play more than one sport in their high school career? Let's say one of your players will play basketball and then they play baseball?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I think it's huge for a kid, especially at a small school. The coaching staff needs the best athletes to play all the sports that they can, and I encourage my kids too. I know we got a few that just do baseball, and then there's a few basketball guys that just do basketball. But for the most part, we want our kids to do both. I played basketball in high school. I'm still around the game. I referee high school basketball. Our basketball coach played college baseball. So, I mean, we both understand the importance of a multi-sport athlete. And we want them to do that. And we want them to succeed at both. And, that's kind of nice about a small school, is we can share some athletes, and when they have success in basketball, it runs into baseball, and when they have success in baseball, I believe it runs into basketball. And we were really looking forward to spring last year. I know our basketball team won the district title and ended up losing to Greenwood in the sectional, but that was a successful season, and I thought it was going to lead into the baseball season, their efforts and their success in basketball. So yeah, we most definitely want them to do both, and we encourage them to do everything.
You guys do encourage them to do every sport, pretty much just every sport you can think of, is either whether it's baseball, whether it's basketball, whether they're running track or cross country, which there are some sports that do run into the baseball season, which are cross country and track in both the spring and the fall season. So looking at the players of the week from the SWCL tournament, who do you think shined out on the diamonds at Southwest and at US Ballpark this week?
Our pitching, our four pitchers. Jake Brown pitched probably the most efficient, best game he'd pitched all year on Tuesday down at Southwest against Blue Eye. Then OCL Aldave followed that up with a great 7-inning game against Billings. Pitched really well, probably the best game he's pitched all year. Then Andy was able to come out after being injured and kind of pick up where he left off, a couple weeks before he got injured, and did a really good job. He wasn't as efficient as I thought he could be at times, but that's because he hadn't been on the mound as much as we would have liked him to be, or as much as he would have liked to be. And then, those three guys being seniors understand it, but then our sophomore that came in, Ezekiel Garcia, come in relief and, pitched 4 innings. Just got us out of jam after jam after jam, and even some jams that he didn't cause. I mean, we made some mistakes, and he was able to get some big outs, some ground balls, some pop-ups, or some strikeouts that kind of got us out of the jam. That was just huge. And, I talk about the other 3 seniors, but, Clay Henderson, about middle of the year, we moved him to the 3-hole, and he just produced. He drove in runs every all 3 conference tournament games, and was just on base and was willing to do anything and everything for us. So, I mean, those 4 seniors, and then Ezekiel on the mound, and I can't forget Boston. I mean, in my opinion, there's not a better defensive-minded catcher in our conference right now. And I know there's some good catchers, but he does a great job calling pitches, does a great job blocking, and he's starting to figure out the throwing side of things and starting to hold some runners in check. And we just put it together at the right time.
Just put it together right at the right time. And now, looking at the MLB side, now that the MLB season's now into the World Series between the Rays and the Dodgers, what do you expect from that World Series that's going to be played over in Arlington? It's a neutral site for the Rays and the Dodgers.
I just hope it goes 7 games. Being a baseball fan, I just want baseball to last as long as it could, as long as it can, and I just love to watch it, and I'll probably be watching every chance I can. And I told someone this morning. I think the Dodgers have the best players. I think Tampa Bay has the best team. And so if the best players do their thing, it's going to be tough for Tampa Bay to win. But if the best team is doing what they're supposed to, it's going to be hard for the Dodgers to win. So, I look forward to that World Series, and I look forward to every World Series, no matter who's playing in it.
No matter who's playing. And now, before we let you go, if there are any final words you had to say to the coaches that you played from Blue Eye, Billings, and Crane, and also all the coaches that you've played this fall, what would your words be to all those coaches that you've played?
Well, what an honor and a privilege to share the baseball field with those guys. I know, Coach Evers down at Blue Eye does an excellent job. Coach Craig at Billings does a great job. And, of course, Coach Harmon, I have so much respect for him. And off the field, I considered him a great friend. And it's just amazing. And then, like you said, all the other coaches that we played this fall, all the way back down to when we were playing Silo, Oklahoma, and Ellington and Licking, those are some guys that have won some state titles, and I look up to them, and it's just awesome to be able to share a field with those guys. And then the rest of our conference coaches, we got such a great brotherhood. It's so nice to kind of have that person or those people you can call in a time of need, or even if you just need to chat. So I look forward to seeing everyone in the spring, and thanks for allowing me to coach against you.
Just look forward for the spring. That will end today's show for today. We hope you enjoyed our show. We hope you enjoyed us sitting down with the head coach of the Purdy Eagles, Coach Josh Hughes. If you'd like to stay connected with the Purdy Eagles through their social media, be sure to like them on Facebook. Also follow them on Twitter. Their Twitter is at PHSskipper3. Once again, it's PHSskipper3. Also check out their website. Their website is at purdy.k12.net. Also check out mission.org for their schedule, as we will announce the first game they will play for the spring. They will take on East Newton after Purdy came off a 15-8 record in the fall. And also they are the SWCL champs, as they stole the SWCL championship from last year's champion of Crane. If you'd like to stay connected with Ozarks Sports Report through our social media, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and check out our website. Our website is ozarksportsreport.wixsite.com/ozarksportsreport. One final time, we want to thank Coach Josh Hughes for sitting down with us, and we'd like to congratulate him on a great season in this fall season, going 15-8. One final time, I'm Adam Smith from the Ozark Sports Report saying, have a good day, everybody.